Good morning. Today is the 16th day of Kislev, the 29th of November, and we're up to the fourth reading, the big showdown between the two brothers, Jacob and Esau. There's a lot of stuff that happens between them. We're going to focus on the two key phrases that everyone who studies Kabbalah knows, and in Chassidus there are also very important phrases. And Rashi makes a big deal out of them. And let's look at what happened. When they meet, remember that this is after Jacob had sent Esau a offering. 3 different flocks that he had sent. And he really meant to give this to Esau. He really wanted to give it to him. So what happens is, let me just find the verse. We are looking at verse 9. Verse 9 in chapter 33. So Esau said, I have plenty of wealth, much more than I need. My brother, let that which is yours remain yours. Let that which is yours be yours. Meaning, he doesn't want to accept the offering. He says, I have plenty. What is this plenty talking about? So the word in Hebrew is rav. Yesh li rav. The same word that we use for a rabbi in Hebrew. At least a rabbi from Babylon. Rabbis from the land of Israel are called rabbi. Actually called, or if you're a Sephardi, you say ribi. So these are, it's like Esau was saying, I have a rav. I have plenty, but it also means I have a teacher. Which, how is that related to anything here? And then Jacob tries to get him to take it anyway. And it proves to be very difficult. He doesn't want it. And in the end, two verses later, Jacob says like this, please accept my welcoming gift, which has been brought to you. For God has been kind to me, and I have all I need. These are almost the same phrases. Esau said, I have plenty, yesh li rav. Jacob says, I have all. I have all that I need. Yesh li kol. Let's look at Rashi for a moment. What does Rashi says? What does Rashi say about this? He says, when Esau says I have plenty, for some reason I'm not finding it. Well, there is a Rashi like this, I just can't find it right now. It's not on these words, he says it somewhere else. He says, Esau says, I have plenty means I have much more than what I need. Jacob says, I have exactly what I need. I have all. What he's trying to say is, I have exactly what I need. And so let's call it the moral lesson from this is that don't be someone who hoards wealth. Don't have more than you need. Always feel that you have exactly what you need. And if there is anything that you don't need, so give it to others who need it. That's the moral lesson that's usually taught from this. Very simple and straightforward idea. Don't feel that you have plenty. This is also true with food, right? When you're eating, don't feel until you're plenty, until you're full, until you can't move. Eat until you feel that you're full, that you have all that you need. You don't need any more. But in Chassidus, this is understood differently. So first of all, we'll explain the Kabbalah side of it, then the Chassidus side of it. In Kabbalah, the explanation was that when Esau says, I have plenty, yesh li kol, what he is saying, yesh li rav, I have plenty. What he is saying is, I have the light. I have the divine revelation. It was very surprising at first. You would think that maybe Jacob would say that. I'm the one who has the divine revelation. But the Kabbalists read it like this, that when he says Eshli Rav, he means I come from a place where there is plenty. Where was the place where there was a tremendous amount of divine revelation, so much so that it had to shatter? That was the world of chaos. And it shattered because it was more light than the vessels could contain. So this actually fits the picture. When he says, I have plenty, what he's saying is, I'm overflowing. So the Kabbalists say, yes, this is exactly what Esau would say, because Esau's coming from the place, he's connected to the world of chaos, and what he sees is incredible lights. Now, if you remember, incredible revelations of God, if you remember, we were talking about why Isaac wanted to bless Esau. And the explanation was because Esau has tremendous energy and he wants to do everything now. The people who want to do everything now are in a world of chaos. And what that means is that you have to be much more calculated and have many, many more vessels than lights in order to actually change anything, to actually get anything done. So if you have a tremendous amount of ideas and no vessels to put them into, so in the end you end up doing nothing. The secret of the world of rectification, and that's where Jacob is from, is I have all I need. Meaning, I have as much revelation of godliness as I need right now, because I'm limited in the amount of vessels that are at my disposal. And so let's bring this a little bit further down. Imagine someone who has tremendous ideas all the time, and he keeps having new ideas every moment. This type of person has to find a whole crew of individuals that will bring his ideas into the world by building the right infrastructure for it to actually be useful. So you've got creators like this everywhere. I don't know if everywhere, but there's a lot of creators like this. Rav Ginsburg is certainly one of them. He's one of these people that he has ideas at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Literally. I'm telling you, he has to sit down and do remedial math just to calm his mind. Meaning he sits down with his calculator for hours a day, and he's doing, in the end, what are a lot of gematriot, but really, when somebody looks at him playing with this calculator, it's one of those simple ones, like one that looks like a credit card. It only does four basic operations. And with those 4 basic operations, he can basically manipulate all of mathematics. And he does this for hours, and I've seen it that he needs that in order to stop his mind from thinking so much. So he has to find a way to calm himself down. Now, the more people he can have around him that can actually take these ideas, sift through them, and work on them, and try to make them into something, and so on, the more change could happen in the world. But the reality is that he is very limited in the amount of vessels that he has. It's a very interesting thing that once his son told us that he thinks that when the Lubavitcher Rebbe blessed him to write his classes in book form, he was actually giving him vessels, that the books became the vessels. And it's his oldest son, he's known him for 52 years, and he told us that if there were no vessels, he would simply flounder around and have no way to actually connect with reality. So in his case, the vessels became the publication, the book form, or the internet site, wonders, whatever it is. But bringing things down is what allows the light to be captured. Esau, he's full of light, but because of that, he's overflowing and he shatters all the time. He's heartbroken all the time. He's frustrated because he can't bring to fruition his great vision for what the world can be like. Jacob, on the other hand, is very calculated. In a certain sense, he's down to earth more than his brother is, which is surprising because we thought that he was the scholar. But it turns out that the years with Laban changed him. They changed him. It wasn't just the years with Laban. In fact, there's a medrash, there's a saying from the sages that when the two of them were in the womb, they knew that they wouldn't be able to get along. So they said, let's divide the world. So Jacob said, okay, I'll take the world to come. Meaning, I don't need this world. I'm not interested in the physical vessels. I'm not interested in all of this. But that's what he thought before they were born. In the womb, Esau said, I'll take this world, this physical world. He's very happy with it, because what did he feel? He felt this world is a great place to achieve all his cravings, everything he wanted. When they came out of the womb, we see that Jacob doesn't act according to their contract. In fact, only when they're 15, he already buys the firstborn rights from Esau. He doesn't buy them to say, you'll get nothing and I'll get everything. He's actually offering him a deal. He's saying, I'll get the firstborn rights in this world, and in return, I'm giving you half of the world to come. I'm giving you half of what we decided in the womb. I want it to be half and half for both of us. That way we'll both win. But Esau doesn't really agree. He doesn't accept this new contract, and all the ensuing tension begins. So they need to come together, actually. And this is a famous statement in Kabbalah that was adopted by Hasidus. It's called great lights, or the lights of chaos within rectified vessels, the vessels of the world of rectification. We didn't mention this before, but when you say Rav, that means plenty. When you say all, Kol is from the same root as Kli, as vessel. So when Jacob says, I have all, what he's saying is, I have many, many vessels. And in the reading after that, the reading we saw yesterday, what happened to him was he was going after the little vessels. We see how much Jacob holds, and how much he cherishes every vessel that he collected. They're all very important to him. So that's the way the Kabbalah sees it. What about Chassidus? Chassidus has a new understanding of this whole topic of Yesh li Rav and Yesh li Kol. I have plenty and I have all. The word Rav, plenty, also means ribui in Hebrew. Ribui means multiplicity. When there are many, many things. Multiplicity is in the realm of the sphera of kingdom. In other words, one of the biggest questions in all of philosophy is, how can there from one God come a multiplicity of beings? How does that exactly happen? But the point is that in our world we see a multiplicity. We see many, many variations. We see many different things. So that is the sphera of kingdom. And that's Esau. Esau is the one who's connected to this world, to the world of multiplicity. Jacob, on the other hand, sees all. He sees the kol. Kol, this word kol, is also a word that is synonymous spiritually with the sphera of foundation. Foundation is the sphera of the tzaddik. It's the sphera, it's the emanation that is related to the person who is connected to God, who is righteous, who is always God-fearing. They need to come together. The tzaddik, the righteous person, that is Jacob, has to have a actor, someone who understands the world of multiplicity. That is true now more than it was ever true before. Why so? Because today we talk about economies of scale, or manufacturing at scale. And what that means really is, you can't feed the world anymore on just every person doing what they need in order to feed their family. That doesn't work anymore. In fact, nothing works like that anymore. Everything is multiplied by scales. We're talking about millions of people as a start. And then when you talk about having to govern a country, you're talking sometimes about 1 billion people even. How do you do that? That requires an Esau type of mentality, understanding how the multiplicity works. However, if you only understand how the multiplicity works, which is what democracy is supposed to be good for, it doesn't really solve the problems. The problems require that there be a tzaddik above the person who understands the multiplicity. There needs to be someone who is a channel for the righteousness, for the goodness of God. And then when they work in conjunction, the kol, the foundation, together with the rav, the kingdom, when they work together, that leads to the thing we're all waiting for, which is the true and complete redemption. Which means being able to govern even a world of multiplicity in the right way. Thanks for joining today. Hope to see you tomorrow.